السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طالبات المرحلة الرابعة في جامعة تكريت كلية التربية للبنات قسم اللغة الإنجليزية. This lecture of grammar is entitled as Adverbial Clauses, الجمل الظرفية. As we have taken in the previous lecture the different types of nominal clauses, adverbial clauses also have many types which are going to be seen in the next slide. So what are the types of adverbial clauses? In fact, there are many types, but here they are limited to 10. Clauses of time, clauses of place, clauses of condition, of concession, of reason or cause, of circumstance, of purpose, result, manner and comparison, and finally clauses of proportion and preference. All these 10 types are types of adverbial clauses. You have to memorize them. You have to memorize their spelling, and you have to memorize the clue for each type of clause in order to distinguish it from other types of adverbial clauses. So each clause has a clue. What is the clue? Is the subordinators that introduce that clause. Let us see the first type. Now, clauses of time. Adverbial clauses of time are introduced by such subordinators as we have after, before, since, until, when, while, as soon as, once, until, etc. There are many subordinators that refer or that introduce a clause of time. So even their meanings after, before, since, until, they refer or they give us the meaning of time. They are a reference to time. Now we have the examples. When I last saw you, you lived in Kirkuk. So when I last saw you is a clause of time. How do we know? Because it is introduced with the subordinator when. Buy your tickets as soon as you reach the station. As soon as you reach the station is the adverbial clause. What type? It is a clause of time. Once published, the book made a good sale. Once published, it is an adverbial clause. What is its type? It is a clause of time. Now let me ask you, is it a finite or non-finite? It is a non-finite, the type of ed. Now the second type is that clauses of place. This is an easy type of clauses. Adverbial clauses of place are introduced by subordinators as where or wherever. So it is easily distinguished. For example, they went wherever they could find work. Wherever they could find work, it is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of place. How do we know that? Because it is introduced with the subordinator wherever. Where the fire had been, we saw nothing but blackened ruins. Where the fire had been is the adverbial clause of type clause of place. It is introduced with the subordinator where. Where or wherever possible, all moving parts should be tested. So, wherever possible or where possible is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of place. Now, do we know what type of clauses? Is it finite or non-finite or what? It is a verbless clause. Verbless. شوفوها, there is no verb. ماكو فعل بيها. Now that's all for clauses of place. Let us see the third type. The third type is that clauses of condition. الجمل الشرطية. Adverbial clauses of condition are introduced by such subordinators as if, when it is in positive conditioning, unless, when it is in negative conditioning, provided that, and etc. Let us see the examples. He must be lying if he told you that. So if he told you that is an adverbial clause. What is its type? It is a clause of condition. How do we know that? It begins, or it is introduced with the subordinator if. Unless the strike has been called off, there will be no trains tomorrow. So the first sentence with if was positive conditioning, and the second one with negative conditioning. Unless the strike has been called off, it is an adverbial clause, a clause of condition. Provided that no objection is raised, we shall hold the meeting here. Provided that no objection is raised is the adverbial clause. Its type is a clause of condition. Type is that clauses of concession. Adverbial clauses of concession are introduced by such subordinators as though, although, while, whereas, even if. The examples for these subordinators are as follows. No goals were scored, though it was an exciting game. Now these refers to certain privileges, to certain facts, or the reference to certain occasions. Though it was an exciting game is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of concession. How do we know that? We have the clue though. The other example is that although I enjoyed myself, I was glad to come home. Although I enjoyed myself is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of concession. Whereas John seems dull, his brother is clever. Whereas John seems dull, his brother is clever. So the first part is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of concession. Even if you dislike music, you would enjoy this concert. Even if you dislike music, it begins with even if, so it is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of concession. The fifth type of adverbial clauses is clauses of reason or cause. جمل السببية، ومن اسمها cause راح تبين بعض ال subordinators. Adverbial clauses of reason or cause are introduced by such subordinators as because, as, or since. I lent him the money because he needed it. Because he needed it is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of reason or a clause of cause. As or since Jane was the eldest, she was served first. As or since Jane was the eldest, it is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of reason, or we call it a clause of cause. The sixth type is that clauses of circumstance. This is an easy type and it has only one subordinator. Adverbial clauses of circumstance are introduced by subordinators as seeing that. For example, seeing that the weather has improved, we shall enjoy our picnic. So seeing that the weather has improved is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of circumstance. Circumstance. That clauses of purpose. Adverbial clauses of purpose are introduced by such ordinators as to, in order to, in order that, in order for plus a noun or a pronoun, so as to, so that. The major one is to. We call it clauses of purpose, الجمل الغرضية, because we do it for a purpose. Example, I left early to catch the train. So why did you left early? To catch the train. This is my purpose. It is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of purpose. How do we know? We have the clue to. They left the door open in order for me to hear the baby. In order for me to hear the baby is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of purpose and it has the clue in order for plus the pronoun me. Susan traveled to Baghdad so that she could join the academy. So that she could join the academy is the adverbial clause. It is a clause of purpose. Now just pay attention to what is following so that. Look at so that. It is followed by the modal could. Just keep it in mind. It is a clause of purpose. The eighth type of adverbial clauses is clauses of result. جمل النتيجة. So here we have a result rather than a cause. Adverbial clauses of result are introduced by such subordinators as so or so that. Now we have so that again. So how do we differentiate it between the clauses of result and the previous type of clauses, where I have told you that there is a so that? Let us see the example. We planted many shrubs so that or so the garden soon looked beautiful. What's the difference between this type of clause of result and the previous type is that of clause of purpose? In that type we see so that is followed by a modal auxiliary which is specifically could. But here we have so or so that without a modal auxiliary. So it is a result, not a purpose. We have a result here, not a purpose. The ninth type is clauses of manner and comparison. Adverbial clauses of manner and comparison are introduced by such subordinators as exactly as, just as, or as if. شوفوها كلها بيها as لكن معشقة مع كلمة أخرى. Please do it exactly as I instructed. Please do it exactly as I instructed. This is a clause of manner. Do it exactly as I instructed. It means in the way I have instructed you. يعني مثل ما علمتك بالطريقة اللي شرحت لكم بيها أو بالطريقة اللي انطيتكم بيها التعليمات. The way I had instructed you. So it is a clause of manner. He looks as if he is going to be ill. He looks as if he is going to be ill. This is maybe a comparison between his state and his following state, or at the same time manner and comparison. His manner and a comparison between his state and the previous state. We see it is in simple, not in simple present, in continuous, as if or as if he is going to be, oh, is going. He treated me just as if he had never met me. He had never met me. Look at the tense. It is in past and it gives us the implication of the opposite of the fact, something untrue. It means that he knew me, but he treated just as if he had never met me. So this clause, this adverbial clause, is of manner, in the way of, and also a comparison, because he knew me and he treated me in a different way. The 10th type is that clauses of proportion and preference. Proportion اللي هي النسبة أو العلاقة، نسبة العلاقة، and preference اللي هو التفضيل. Adverbial clauses of proportion and preference are introduced by such subordinators as the اللي احنا بيناتها فراغ، فأكيد راح نخلي فد adjective something like that in comparative degree. This is for proportion, to show the proportion, to show the ratio, the rate، نشوف العلاقة والنسبة. Rather than or sooner than, this is for preference. Now let us see the examples. You can judge whether it is a proportion and a preference from the subordinator and from the meaning itself. The more he thought about it, the less he liked it. So the more he thought about it, this is the adverbial clause and it is a clause of proportion. Yani as much as he thinks about it, as much as he dislikes it, or less like it less. The harder he worked, the happier he felt. This is also an adverbial clause. It is a clause of proportion because we have the, and between them there is the following information. Rather going there by air, I would take the slowest train. Rather going there by air. So المفروض تنكتب هنا rather than going there by air, I would take the slowest train. So rather than going there by air, it is a clause of preference. It means I prefer to go by train rather than going by air, because by air I would reach fast. I will not enjoy myself by seeing certain scenes, certain things in the way. Therefore, it is an adverbial clause. It is a clause of preference. Until now, we have finished all the 10 types of adverbial clauses. I hope you have understood, and we are going to make some quizzes on the group of WhatsApp. See you at 10:30 today.